rock it. Okay.
Sounds good, man.
As we do. All right. I think we're live now. Let's bring it on. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us for ModGolf Live. I'm Colin Weston, the host of the ModGolf Podcast, and obviously ModGolf Live, as we are here today. Yeah, had a great weekend. Just got back from Seattle. Was hanging out down there with some friends, actually friends and family there. Just talking to our guest here, who I'll bring on in a second. I'm not going to spoil it quite yet of who we got on here for you today, even though you should know because you probably saw what was going on there. But before we get started, I'm going to do my little opening. What I've done for the last couple of months here. This is our 16th consecutive week in a row that we've done ModGolf Live here. We just keep on going. And one thing I've learned over with entrepreneurship in life is consistency over intensity. Yeah, sure, we love some intensity, but you know what? Rather than going hard and stopping and then waiting for perfect or whatever that is, let's keep on going. Just keep on going. And we are building some momentum here with ModGolf Live. I'm super excited. The traction we're getting, the response we're getting from this. And this is just this great platform I have for not only introducing you all to the innovators and entrepreneurs in the golf industry that we're not able to squeeze on our ModGolf podcast because we do 24 episodes a year, so we only have so much capacity for that. But it also allows me to bring on previous guests, which I'm going to be doing today, and that is Jordan Lunetta, who is the co-founder of ODIN Golf. I consider Jordan a good friend now, friend of the show. I just look back at the back catalog. We had him on the podcast back in May 2022, so 2.5 years ago. Hard to believe it was that long, but that is how time flies when we're having fun here. I'm going to bring Jordan on in a minute here, but before we do that, I'm going to open the show with what I do here on Mondays, and that is my Monday morning musings. What's on my mind? What's gone on the last week? And what's going on in the future. So I'm going to start this with what's going on later this week. I am super excited because I'm getting on a plane on Wednesday to go across the country because I'm in Vancouver here to Montreal, as they say in with Quebecois, with our French friends in Quebec, that going to the President's Cup. So this has come about because one of my good buddies that I grew up in high school with back in Toronto, one of his friends reached out to me just like a week ago and said, hey, we're actually going to the President's Cup, where they're all going to be driving from Toronto, driving up there. I'm flying in, obviously, as I said. Going to be playing a round of golf on Thursday, going to President's Cup on Friday, and Saturday, they got a shuttle bus lined up, taking us everywhere. We're going out for dinner every single night. The food in Montreal is fantastic. So I just love this because I'm quite often the guy that's organizing everything. I'm kind of the social coordinator. And you know what? Sometimes you just get a little tired of that. And this one guy, Will, I don't know, Willie's joining us today. Some of the guys said they're going to join us. So, hey, Willie, if you're joining us today, props to you, man. You have organized all this. It's like, hey, you know what? Just e-transfer me how much the money is for this. And I'm just going to show up and we're going to do it. So I love that. It's going to be awesome. So I am also going to be shooting some video, a lot of maybe a little live stream there, but definitely we're going to be for Instagram, for our ModGolf Instagram, we're going to be putting together some reels there. We're also going to be doing some YouTube shorts, so creating some content. Don't know what that's going to look like yet, but you know what? That's half the fun here. The stories are going to reveal themselves as we go. So yeah, looking forward to that. The other thing I got to mention here also is we just released or just launched our season 16 of ModGolf, for the ModGolf Podcast. Yeah, as you may know here, we've been doing this for almost 200 episodes with season 16, 12 episodes per season since 2017. Gosh, hard to believe. Almost going to be encroaching on year 8 pretty soon. So yeah, released the first episode last week, and that was with a woman I met actually through LinkedIn. So we got a great LinkedIn community there with ModGolf and with Petra Himmel, and she's doing all kinds of awesome things in the sustainable golf sector. So as a journalist and working in the golf industry and reporting on it for decades, That is really her focus. And this conversation was awesome because it's not doom and gloom. It's like, hey, how can it thrive? How can golf courses become sustainable, not only environmentally, but also socially, have that impact, and also financially. And great conversation there. Also on our YouTube channel. So I strongly encourage you to go back and watch and listen to that episode. I will include the link in a minute here. And a nice little segue, because Jordan, I didn't ask him earlier when we were off camera here if he's still in Berlin, because I know she's not right around the corner from Jordan, but Petra is just outside of Munich. So definitely we've got a German connection here. Even our good friend Jordan is from the US of A. And hey, you know what? That's my Monday morning musings. I've talked long enough on my own here, and now is the time to bring the man, the legend of ODIN Golf on here with him and all of his awesome team here, Jordan Lunetta. Welcome back to ModGolf and ModGolf Live, my friend.
Dialing in from grungy but sexy Berlin.
There we go. Here we go. So let's start. How long have you been in Berlin now? You've been there a while, man.
12 years. It's wild. Absolutely wild.
12 years. So, okay, we're going to start with that before we kind of dig in the updates of all the great things that have gone on between, like I mentioned, May 2022 when we had you on the ModGolf podcast, and you and I really kind of struck up our friendship here. So we're going to cover all that, what's gone on in the last 30 months or so. But tell us about the why. Why Berlin? How did you end up in Berlin? You grew up in Southern California, if I'm correct, or maybe it was NorCal. You definitely are a California kid, though, right?
California kid, grew up in NorCal in the SF Bay Area, grateful for one of the many golf meccas. Grew up playing. I was a muni golfer, picked up a club at 8 years old, took a couple lessons, and golf was always a hobby. It was always a kind of get the job done swing. And we can get into it later about ODIN and building for the everyday golfer, but just fell in love with the muni golf scene. And it was never about, it was the golf, it was the community. But, as I got older, it became, more of a play the muni scene and then hole 19 karaoke after. It was all about the muni experience and the everyday golfer experience. So it didn't grow up around any sort of country club scene. It was the complete opposite. So I, grew up in the SF Bay area, grew up around startups my entire life, just built a business that we always joke about the DJ business that I built at a young age, and we were jamming out on some vinyl earlier. So grew up getting my hands dirty, building stuff, tinkering, failing, learning, at an early age. I remember my mother, who I don't know if she's listening here, but I won't throw her under the bus, but she faked a work permit so that I could work early. Was a lifeguard and stuff. So just grew up around the hoop of building stuff. And fast forward to about 12 years ago, I wanted to live and work in Europe, and I'm a Sicilian by background. So I was like, shit, I'd love to get in touch with the motherland, but work in tech. And I didn't want to do London. I wanted to do something very, very odd, offbeat, very open, similar to San Francisco, where I grew up around. And Berlin was kind of the obvious choice. And I always joke, it's like one big Depeche Mode album. Like there's art, there's music, there's, the grunge of the east side of the city where I live. Obviously, it's very gentrified now. But that it just spoke to me, and I wanted to work in tech. And so I basically talked my way into a job here 12 years ago in the consumer tech scene. I worked for a company called Delivery Hero, which is like the DoorDash of Europe, of Asia, Latin America. Helped build that up, and then met some expats who also golfed in the scene here, and then we started ODIN later, which was a bit of a wild ride. But it's the juxtaposition of living in Germany. And Germans always joke that Berlin is not like the rest of the country, because it's almost like its own little island. But you have a hodgepodge of different cultures and different scenes. I love it in many ways, and it's to the detriment, not very good for my German language skills because it's so international. I know I can order food and pick up lines and that sort of thing. But it's just a great spot, and traveling around through Europe, it's, very easy jet, Ryanair, a couple hours and you're in Spain or you're in Greece, etc. So, and I know you've spent a lot of time out in Europe too. It's just a great spot.
Love it. Love it. Hey, before we go any further here, I just want to mention we got people joining us here. So just want to reach out to them and say, hey, thank you for joining us today. And we want to make this interactive. Believe me, Jordan and I could talk for hours here. But yeah, the fact that we're live here, I want to say thanks for joining us. And yeah, hey, in the chat here, introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, on the West Coast here. So we're 9-10 time zones away here. So it's evening for you, morning for me. So I'm still on coffee. Maybe you're on a cocktail already or a beer. Who knows what's going on over there? So yeah, just want to say, hey, since we're live here, hey, why don't you ask a question? Put something out there. You want to know something about ODIN Golf here, which hey, we're going to introduce right now. And Jordan's got to give kind of the why and the kind of the vision and what's going on there with their awesome and irreverent and a bit cheeky branding to what they've got going on there with their premium golf balls, which I've used for the last couple of years and won many of my club tournaments here. So yeah, I have to give props to ODIN of being one of the tools in my toolkit that allows me to play better than my 14 handicap sometimes would say. So like I said, don't be shy. Introduce yourself. Put questions in the chat here. We'd love to hear from you. So okay, my friend. So people may not know Odin. What's this whole Odin thing? What's the Norse god of war and poetry have to do about golf balls? So yeah, go for it. Give us the background, my friend.
So we've joked about this, I think, on the original episode, but since then, golf in Germany is a little bit funky in many ways. The through line of it is you need a license to play, which was absolutely mind-boggling for me moving here. It's completely different culture shock that I had playing golf here. So the backstory is. In Berlin, like I said, there's a lot of expats. There's a lot of people who want to scratch that itch of golfing. And I got to know a couple friends in the tech scene here, and we incubated this expat tech golf group that we go out once or twice a week. Summer golf is great. You can play till 10 p.m., go out, play after work, have a schnitzel and a cold hat waiting for you, and you're out the door by 10:30. It's still light out, which is amazing. It's like the ultimate twilight shift. And what basically happened was, so I got to know 3 people out of the group, 2 Germans, 1 Brit, and I was the token expat with all the horrible jokes, with all the East Coast sarcasm that I got through the Italian family. I think they still look at me bemused to this day. So I don't know. I don't know why they still put up with me, but that's neither here nor there. So the 4 of us were out on the track one day, and we're everyday golfers between 12 and 25 handicap. So enough to enjoy ourselves, but not shit the bed too much.
I can relate to that.
Oh man, I'm with you. So we're out on the track one day, and we're spraying marketing material all over the lake and the forest, just emptying our bags out. And I think it was on the 12th hole, we looked at each other and we're like, shit, we're emptying our wallets out. First off, we're losing balls of brands that they're old, they're stuffy, they're very expensive. They don't speak to us as the next generation of golfers, the everyday golfer. And we're consuming golf in new and innovative ways. We all live on these digital watering holes, which is incredible. There was a mismatch. And we said, look, the traditional golf brands, some of them been around 100 years or more, they're building for the pros. But we're just a number in their marketing engines and their cogs that basically fuel, the ad dollars that are going to, the professional players. And we said, look, there's just a mismatch here. And, us for being in the software world, building and scaling software companies, we instantly said, there's a big business opportunity here, building out of a need. Us, the everyday golfer, we felt like there was a huge unmet need for really 99% of the market. So we said, the vision we had was this platform for the everyday golfer, not only a place where they can get incredible balls and gear for, we like to say reload without the guilt, incredible products. And you shouldn't be spending 50 beans on a dozen. Like, take that $15, go get a breakfast burrito and a bloody, or your grub or food of choice, or pop of choice. And also, we wanted to gamify golf for the everyday golfer. We wanted to build this kind of digital community ecosystem around the everyday golfer. So that was 3 years ago, and we started with the balls. That was the seed crystal, the idea. And we said, given we started in Europe, let's pay homage to the European motherland. Odin is the, as you alluded to, Nordic god of wisdom, war, and a million other things. And if you Google Odin, there's the Marvel Odin, which we all know.
Yep.
Anthony Hopkins with the big beard. There's also the mythical Odin. And we looked at the mythical Odin, and there's this old painting of Odin sitting on this massive throne with a huge ass staff. And we said, shit, that looks like a giant putter. So, it was a match made in heaven, literally. And the other thing, too, we wanted something bold, edgy on the ball, 4 letters. Our tagline is "Go balls out always." So we wanted something that fit the bill there, and it came together. And then our box, what you see behind me, paint splatter, very bold, edgy, a little bit in your face. And keep in mind, we decided we're just building for the U.S. market, even though we're sitting, in our skivvies at 10 o'clock at night, building for the U.S. I kind of said early on to the other guys, because Europeans maybe they didn't know, it was kind of odd how I brought that into the table and said, look, this is how golf is over there across the pond. It's much different in Europe. UK, I think, is ahead and similar in a lot of ways to Canada and the US. But we said, given our corner we want to have in golf, the US made total sense. And to this day, we still only build for the US.
Nice. And so people understand here. So, well, maybe you've expanded since the last time we talked, but I know you're direct to consumer for the most part of the Odin website, which we will pull up here, because, hey, you know what? We love what you do. You don't pay me anything to do this. Just love what you're doing. Love you guys. So, hey, yeah, you can check them out at odin-golf.com. There, it's the way to go. And why don't we actually pull up your website, because we can do this. Since I have this ability. You have to bear with me a second here, since I am not only the host here, but I'm kind of twisting some knobs and pulling some levers here as the executive producer, because we're on a tight budget here. Can't afford anyone to do that quite yet. So here we go. Boom. So we'll share.
I've always applauded you as first off a one-man band, John, from a similar cloth, but the operation is through the roof today. I'm just in awe. This is like a completely high-tech setup. I mean, I'd love to jam and shoot the shit for a couple hours if you'd have me.
There we go. Well, hey, we normally about 30-35 minutes, but hey, there's nothing to say that I may need to have lie down and have a little bit of a nap, or maybe go scramble some eggs or something. But we can make it happen, my friend. So hey, up in Canada here, we've always said, it's like so many people have asked me that I play with, and I bust out the Odin balls, and they're like, "Tell me about these balls. What's with Odin?" And as I tell them the story, they're like, "These are cool." They see me kind of hitting good shots and kind of sticking, get some backspin and kind of drop and stop on them, and like, "Hey, these balls are high performance balls." So I tell the story. But it still is, I guess, to ship to Canada, that's still a work in progress, I guess. Here, it's still a little bit tricky and expensive to get them up here, huh?
It totally, the shipping prices are just astronomical these days. And we've always been champagne taste on a beer budget,
right?
Zero marketing, very, brick by brick grassroots from the start. So that is the ambitions have always been global. But we kind of have to pick our spots as a still fledgling company.
Of course. So hey, let's talk about for the U.S. market, because once again here, even though I'm based in Canada, got a good Canadian audience, but the majority of our viewers and listeners on ModGolf are in the U.S. So let's talk to the audience there. So hey, let's even start here with the balls here. Looks like you got a bit of a deal going on right now. So a 20% cash back. What's going on there?
The one thing that we decided from early on is we wanted to give a ball experience that was as good or better than those traditional brands, but not a dent on the wallet. So that was the starting point. We spent 9 months basically testing out all these different prototypes. And for us coming from the software world, we always said, let's start with the utility of the customer. In this case, the different handicaps and players. What do they want to get out of a ball experience? We were marketed in an incredibly intricate, complicated way, triple tracked, urethane, doubled over, whatever, just very complicated technology that we don't even give a shit about and we don't understand. So we said, we want to flip that model on its head, speak to the utility of the ball. And what we did was we had different ball types, basically tested out for the different golf personas, sticks up to the high handicappers, new beginners. And a specific example is for a high handicapper or just someone who's on a budget, literally on our site, we said, this is what the ball is. It's a 3-piece ionomer, but you're going to get some extra distance, but it's not going to feel like hitting a rock. Okay, it sounds good. And B, if you donate a lot to the lake or the forest, this is the ball for you. So literally speaking to the pain we went through, that's something that we can all grok as everyday golfers. I don't care all the wildness behind it. So we marketed it in a way that people would understand. And we were able to get that very early on and validate it with the MyGolf Spies of the world, with courses, with really good players, with everyone in between. And you've tried it out yourself. This is you're playing our X1, which plays as good as a Pro V1 or better. And that was what we wanted to do from the get-go. And we were able to achieve that. Now, I will say candidly, golfers, especially those that have been playing a long time, we are very church and state with our routine. What are we wearing? What are we playing? We're very nuanced around the mechanics. I have to wear an orange hat and blue pants. I can't wear a black hat and red pants. It has to be this way. And we were cognizant of, and we still to this day, is there's a massive behavior shift for trying something new. Coming from the consumer tech background and understanding that we as consumers are fickle, we have an incredible high bar, we have food, we have dry cleaning, we have music at beck and call in our pockets. You really have to come out of the gate swinging and play at a high level as much as you can, which was hard for us because we had no budget. We bootstrapped. But we spoke to, and the other thing too is in the golf scene, we started through COVID, absolute boom. There's still, there's 1,000 ball companies, 1,000 hat companies, 1,000 whatever you want. So we had to come out very specific and crisp on the utility and the experience of the brand. And one of the things we wanted to do, which I'll get to the cashback thing, is we wanted to build a community from the ground up, not products first, but community first, product second. Meet the everyday golfer where they're at the local watering holes. That was incredibly important because the other thing too is golf is a social proof game. Yep. What are you playing? What are you wearing? What's your playlist? What seltzer are you drinking? Everything, all the A to Z. So we incubated this ODIN social club community of getting the band together. We're hanging out online in these watering holes, but getting people together through golf, but grubbing out pops, music, and enjoying not competitiveness, but just getting people together. And we have our Odin Day community events, which are really fun. I'm flying back to the US for one Bay Day next month in California. And we said, look, now that we've the past couple of years grown this community, part of our vision was gamifying golf for the everyday golfer. So what we did was, a year and a half ago, we said, when you buy balls with us as a brand, we're going to pay you. So we launched a year and a half ago this Get Paid to Play Golf sponsorship that you can associate with any brand, but when you associate with us, we want to give back to you and the community. So what we did was we literally, when you would buy a dozen, you get cash back, and we literally send you a $7 to your PayPal or your Venmo so that you could spend on lessons, on balls, on green fees, whatever. We wanted, money to flow back into the community and ultimately to the courses, which was part of the vision. That morphed into, given, we spoke with customers, we spoke with courses. People actually said, you know what, I need balls anyway. I love new gear. I'd love it to be just ODIN credit. I love the money, the actual money. So we basically, this morphed into ODIN credit. So when you buy balls and gear with us, you get up to 20% cash back, and then you can use it on reloads because you need them anyway. It's, it's an integral part of your experience. You need darts, and most of us are donating anyway. So that's where that cashback came to be, and it's still to this day. People love it. And again, what's the utility out of it? What's the so what here? Like I can get amazing brands and products anywhere. Like, why should I give a shit about this? Well, this is one of the core tenets of the brand that that's really something that's important to us from a customer standpoint.
Oh, love this. Well, you touched on one of the questions I was going to ask, but I wanted you to expand on this as far as your value prop, your key differentiators that you have, and how you've aligned yourself in the market with this fun, irreverent vibe that you have to build community around, that you've done since day one, and the partnerships that you've created here with the tournaments that you have in some of these events that I know that you've partnered with too. So talk about this a little bit, because you touched on this, the fact there are a lot of golf ball companies out there, from the TaylorMades to the Callaways to the Titleists out there that have way bigger budgets, by factors of hundreds, if not thousands, that you have. So as this kind of lean, scrappy, ragtag group of Berliners, expats now catering to the more of the irreverent golf market in the U.S. So tell us how you. What's the customer acquisition? How do you find your tribe and get people to come in and then spread the gospel of ODIN to help grow the company and sell more balls?
I'll speak to one of the biggest challenges that we still have, candidly, and it's part of the startup lore of it's better to focus on one persona, one thing, and then land and expand later. Well, we said early on we wanted to focus on the everyday golfer. Well, shit, that is massive as a persona. There's tons of different everyday golfer personas. So we actually started quite broad, but that also meant we brought in, the new golfers, everything in between, but also the 1%ers or the half of the 1%ers of the sticks, people who've been playing Titleist for 40 years, and they're very meticulous about what they play and their handicap and their nuances of that. Well, all those different personas have different wants and needs from a brand. And I think that was kind of the baptism by fire that we had early on, was the behavior. Where do we want the behavior shift to be? With the sticks, or, maybe the medium level handicaps like ourselves, or, new golfers. So we, that was a challenge. And a good example of that is we said, given we want to meet them where they're at, we also want to sell our products and courses. Well, you wouldn't believe all the basically all the shit we had to slosh through with courses, because they had contracts with traditional companies, right. And candidly, they had been running courses for a long time. There were some younger people who were more receptive, but it was a massive, massive behavior shift for that. Not only the players, but the people running the courses. So we ran into a bunch of walls there, but the insight we had was, these amateur golf leagues, people like us that would, basically would play competitively or for fun, they were underserved. So the unlock we had was, let's partner with these leagues and do the cashback sponsorship with them, build value for them with the product, but also they get utility out of it with, they get the money back and they get value back to their respective ecosystems. So that was another way in the door into the courses of, partnering and building value, focusing on those different golf leagues from California to Florida to Minnesota to Arizona. So that was a big unlock for us, but it took a while to get there. Again, we had to slosh through a lot of crud to get there. And then that opened up and allowed us to expand the get paid to play golf sponsorship and, the product experience, and then bringing them into the fold, not only leagues, but also other amazing brands too, like ourselves, and bringing them into these events. And one of the manifestations of that was we run these Shindig events. It's a play on a concert series that we do with Save Par, Derek and Dom out of Minnesota, who run the Save Par media collective. And so we do events with them and use it as a platform for the leagues and for other brands and just our community to come together and collaborate on new and amazing things. So, but it candidly was like not a fun experience getting there. And that's what, we always joke that 99% of building businesses isn't glamorous. So that was really a big baptism by fire experience that we had.
Got it. I'm just thinking about collaborations. And one of the things I love about this community with ModGolf that we continue to build, like I said, 200 episodes in. So I've got 200 awesome entrepreneurs, innovators like yourself, people that I consider mentors and now friends. And I love to connect them all together. You may know him already because you're dialed in, but I don't know if you know Charlie Klaus, who I've had on ModGolf Live a couple of weeks ago and had on the podcast with Spark Golf and what they've done the last couple of years, talking about golf leagues. They have just blown up with like a 9-hole Twilight once a week fun golf league. If you're not connected with Charlie already, I got to make that introduction, my friend, because I think what you got going on with ODIN, the whole vibe they have going on all over North America, I think they've got like over 2,000 courses now. There might be a nice way to kind of propel yourself forward. I see just kind of this cultural synergy already between what you guys represent and where they're going to. So if you don't know, do you know Charlie already?
I know of him, and a massive fan, obviously, of Spark and what they've done. I think that's an incredible example of an unmet need in the market that, Titleist wasn't going to build that, or TaylorMade. And again, it's no knock to them. I know we're a little bit, of a whippersnapper sentiment in that we love as a challenger brand. But that's a big insight that he and the team had, that, hey, Twilight Golf, people after work, scratching that itch of getting a community, coming together for the, a shared bond of playing, and then, meeting for grub and pops after, that sort of thing. So massive fan. I love what they're doing. And I think there's multitude of examples like that of amazing people building amazing things and, showing where the market need was with the everyday golfer. For sure.
Yeah, 100%. Well, hey, I'm more than happy to make that connection. That's part of the things that I love to do. So happy to do that for you, which kind of segues nicely into a bit of a self-plug here as far as building community and connecting people together, whether you're in the golf industry, if you're just a recreational player and just love the game, you love entrepreneurship, you love these stories. We have created the ModGolf Patreon community. So if people are wondering what that is, we launched that at the same time as ModGolf Live here about 4 months ago. So with that, if you're not familiar with that, so this is the place where we actually create premium content. If you join us here, hey, if you sign on monthly subscription, it just helps us pay for our production costs here. It allows me to actually do more and more and have great conversations with the Jordan Lunettas of the world. So you can see down below there on the ticker there. So with patreon.com/ModGolf, you can join for free, but hey, we've already got about a dozen or so people that are monthly tiered subscribers, and thank you all for joining there. And the extra little bump you get is part of our ModGolf giveaway. So yeah, we're always giving away free stuff. And hey, if you're one of our paid members, that's another perk that you get. And I think we've given away already about $2,000 worth of stuff over the last couple of months here. So yeah, I do encourage all of you to, hey, why don't you join us on Patreon also? Because that's what we do here. We connect people together. It'll allow you to take a deeper dive into a community here of the hundreds and hundreds of people that are already on there. And last plug I'll do also is, hey, here on YouTube, we're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, which actually unlocks an ability to monetize for us too here with ModGolf. So once again, that these little bits that kind of help us monetize and cover our costs, so I can keep doing more and more and make this sustainable. Also, we talked about sustainability a little bit earlier. So yeah, that's my little plug here. If you love what we're doing here with ModGolf Live and the other content we put on, with me reviewing products as the relatable 14 handicapper, the average golfer. We're going to be doing more of those in the fall here. I'm excited about that. And as I mentioned here, from the President's Cup in Montreal this week, I'm going to be there doing some live stuff. Well, if I can hold a camera and a drink in my hand at the same time, that may be tricky, but I'll try to multitask there. So, hey, to finish up here, Jordan, I want to hear about the future of ODIN. What anything you can tell us that you're excited about as far as kind of the next step of where you're going? You guys got the merch, you got the gear, you got some great stuff. You're obviously wearing some right now to kind of show that off here. I got to get one of those T-shirts, my friend. Those are pretty sweet. Got to get one of those. So as I finish up here, why don't you let everybody know what the future of ODIN, what you got coming on for 2025 and beyond? What's getting you excited?
Yeah, man, I was going to say this is the only T-shirt I own. Just walking billboard. You talked about customer acquisition earlier. Just living the ethos of the everyday golfer. We're excited about a couple of things. One, just getting the brand and the darts in front of people. We're very early in our journey, and one of the things, candidly, we grappled with is coming from the software world, where you release something and you have some resemblance of instant scale. This is a hardware product. There's software component, but this is requiring way more brick by brick. You have to get in front of many people. And when you don't have, a performance marketing budget, you really have to get to the grindstone and do that. It's a slower build. So that's the first thing, is getting the brand and the darts in front of people. Second is the community. So we're doing more community events. I try and fly back a couple of times a year. I was in Minnesota and California a couple months ago, going back next month for our Bay Day. And the third thing we just launched too was glow darts. So these are what you have here. There's our ready to go balls out. So we just launched these. They're on the site. And that was one of the insights we had was, night golf started to take off a little bit.
Yeah.
And we had earlier this year in Arizona a night golf event. And we used that as a testing ground for our glow darts. People love them. And the insight we had there was glow darts, they're almost like unhittable. If you go to a night golf event, like your club head falls off and you're not supposed to hit driver because it dents the driver. So that was like a ground floor insight that we had. We said, shit, let's incubate these things. And we did. And they feel great for glow balls. And that was a big insight we had. And it was just an amazing experience. And so that's taken off, just as a scene. So that's the third thing we're going to focus on. Yeah, there's there you can peep the Instagram. There's some stuff there. So yeah, it's just what are the customers hungry for? What can we incubate given our limited resources? And just keep honing that and building, having long-term ambitions, have that North Star, but also, just really go out and execute and take care of business as much as we can.
No, love that. And hey, like I've said from day one here at the top of the show, I just love your brand, love what you guys are doing. You've been a great supporter of ModGolf. I reciprocate that gesture and support you guys. You're not paying me. You never will. And I just want to say, hey, everybody that's out there watching, whether it's live here, we've got about a dozen people on today. Wish you weren't so shy and would ask some questions here, but hopefully next week, maybe you're a little bolder and you want to put something out there. But you're doing some great things. And as everyone knows here, I love to support entrepreneurship, whether it's around the corner with a golf brand here in Vancouver or halfway around the world out of Berlin, serving the U.S. market. You know what? Got to support each other. And if you're looking for some golf balls, because we always need them, because we're always losing them, I strongly encourage you to go to odin-golf.com, get yourself some darts, and as he likes to say, go balls out always. That hashtag, love that since the beginning here, and kind of sums up your brand right there, my friend, I have to say.
Colin, you're like the consummate human. I have applauded you since the beginning. I appreciate you just being a massive supporter and keeping us afloat over there up north. And I can't wait to hit the sticks with you someday and, grub, have some pops. Vancouver has been on the list. Hit a couple record stores hit the pitch and putts, that sort of thing.
It's going to happen, my friend. It's going to happen. All right. Well, like you said, we can keep talking for hours here, but why don't we finish up strong here? Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on ModGolf Live. Our guest, Jordan Lunetta, co-founder of ODIN Golf. Awesome balls. Go buy some. Highly recommend it. And Jordan, I got a feeling we're going to be talking again very soon. Well, we definitely got to get back and forth here because we definitely got some music stuff to talk about. So we got to kind of share some playlists. So I got to get that's what we got to do here, but we'll do that offline here. Awesome to see you again, my friend. And you take care. And I guess everyone have a great day. And I guess for you, have a great night. Thanks for joining us on ModGolf Live. Jordan, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Colin. See ya.